again, thank you all for being here. You know, I'll tell you, I was involved in politics until I ran for governor in 2010. But the one thing that has surprised me up here is the lack of information. I mean, you know, I don't know the specifics that Senator Johnson was asking for, but it has surprised me how difficult it is just to get basic information. And what I learned as my time as governor is just if you weren't transparent, then people assume the worst. So, and I'm sure I've never had y'all's jobs, so I know your jobs are hard, but the more information you can get out there, your lives will be easier, I assume. So, but I haven't had your job, so take it with a grain of salt. So, Secretary Mayorkas, as you heard during my discussion with Director Wray, I'm concerned about our country is once again missing the clear and present dangers that are at risk of a terror attack on American soil, coordinated or orchestrated by a foreign terror organization. It's probably the highest in my lifetime. Like Director Wray, you have warned since the October 7th attack by Iran-backed Hamas terrorists on Israel that there are increased threats to Americans and of attacks on U.S. soil. And a lot of people can talk about how we got here. I'd like to focus on how we're going to fix this. In the past 3 years, CBP has caught 264 individuals on the terror watch list attempting to illegally enter the U.S. through the southwest border, which is, my understanding, a record high. More terrifying, since January 2021, more than 1.7 million gotaways have evaded Border Patrol and escaped into the interior. We don't have any idea who these people are. They could be harmless, they could be terrorists. But what I've seen, when talking to CBP agents, if they're harmless, they tend to want to be caught by CBP because they're given care and a place to stay. The ones that run away from agents likely probably have something to hide. And also when you go to the border, people have thrown their IDs away so people don't know who they are. All told, during the Biden administration, CBP has encountered, my understanding, 6.4 million illegal aliens along the southwest border. Tens of thousands of illegal aliens have been caught between ports of entry trying to sneak into our country undetected from countries that harbor terrorism. We're talking about places like Iran and Syria, both they're on the state-sponsored terrorism list, and countries that pose a potential national security risk to the U.S., like Communist China, who funds Iran. This February, the State Department issued its Country Report on Terrorism 2021, which says Lebanon-based and Iran-backed terrorist groups, Hezbollah, continued its long history of activity in the Western Hemisphere. And we know that Iran-backed terrorists are harbored by failed states like Venezuela. On October 20, CBP issued a memo warning that foreigner fighters from the Middle East might be trying to enter the U.S. from Mexico. In the past two years, CBP agents have encountered 659 people from Iran. So that's 600, think about that, 659 people from Iran, which they chant death to America, and they want to kill all the Jews in Israel. So this is concerning, especially considering the recent Iran-backed attack on our brave U.S. servicemen and women in Iraq and Syria. So Secretary Mayorkas, you recently spoke to some Jewish leaders. You said, quote, "We remain very concerned about the lone wolf, the individual inside the violence by ideology of hate." So this is the same question I asked Director Wray. Is it fair for the American people to interpret this as you are not concerned at all with a coordinated attack by foreign terrorists on Americans here on U.S. soil?
Senator Scott, I would answer that exactly as Director Wray did. We are concerned about all threats, all hazards across the entire spectrum, as I captured in my opening statement, and the safety and security of the American people is our highest priority.
Okay. Can you say that Hamas, Hezbollah, or other Iran-backed terrorists are not in the U.S. currently after possibly illegally crossing our southern border?
Senator, let me assure you that anyone who poses a threat to our national security or our public safety is an enforcement priority of ours, and we use our detention capabilities to the fullest extent.
So you acknowledge that with the number of people that have come across the border, we have the risk of Hezbollah, Hamas, people like that?
We meet that risk with extraordinary capabilities of our personnel.
Okay. So I just have a final question for each of you, and we'll start with Director Wray. So do you believe, is the United States safer from foreign terror threats today? Are we safer than when Joe Biden took office, from the day he took office?
What I would say to you is that the terror threats have elevated. But I also think there are a lot of things the country has done throughout law enforcement to be better prepared to deal with them.
Secretary.
The threats are very different today than they were a number of years ago. They were very different today than they were 3 weeks ago, and our capabilities are far more advanced given the investments in our people, technology, and other resources.
Thank you.
All of you.
Thank you, Senator Scott. Senator Marshall, recognized.